Hi and welcome back. I remember you. Hey, that episode 6 was so successful. I am still a bit in shock. So, in the off time, I went ahead and in between, I did complete the shutdown and snapshot. Now it says when I go to my current state is changed, I haven't actually fired it back up yet. I did stop and disable HAS stack, but I haven't started it back up. What I did do is I went and created 3 more 8 gig ASM disks for the data disk group and 2 for the flash recovery disk group, so we can set them up before we install the Oracle database binaries and create a database. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and start this system up. Now I'm not going to record all the details on how I configure the ASM disks. I'll go ahead and do the first one, ASM disk 2, and I'll do the partition on this, and I'll do the ASM headers, create the ASM disk. But you're just going to repeat the same procedure for each of the new devices. Dev SDG is going to be what I'll do, and then but there'll be notes to remember to do that to H and I, and then J and K are the two 16 gig volumes, and those are going to be for the flash recovery area. So we'll go ahead and use the ASM creation assistant to create the disk group for the flash recovery area, and in the interim we'll use sqlplus to add the 3 additional 8 gigs to the data disk group. So that sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, so the system is fully booted, and we'll go ahead and pull that back on top and pull up our PuTTY configuration, and we'll log in as root. Now it seems to be hanging a bit. Here's our login. Okay, so make this just a wee bit bigger and log in as root because we're going to be doing partitioning work. So print the partition, there's nothing there. New partition, primary, partition 1. We'll just hit enter, accept the default, enter, accept the size, right. Okay, so / user sbin Oracle ASM list disks. So we enjoy the same naming convention. We'll create disk. Label first. Dev SDG 1. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat those commands with H, I, J, and K. So hold 1. Okay, so those partitions have been created, and the ASM create disk has been run. So let's go ahead and log in as user Oracle at oraenv plus asm ps-ef grep d.bin, and we can see asm is not running. So crsctl enable HAS, let's sleep 2 CRS-CTL start HAS. Okay, it's been enabled. We got the date stamp, and now it's starting. And oftentimes this command does take a few seconds to return. So it says it's been started. So let's take a look-see. And all three of them are up. Goody goody. So let's have some fun. So sqlplus sysasm set lines 180. I always like my output to look nice. So cal name form A20 cal path form A we'll make it 50 cal headers status form A14 select. I always forget if it's group number or group pound. So it's group number, common name, path, asmag, total md, header status, $asm under disk, order by 1, 2. And let's add 3, just to keep it pretty. Okay, so we have a data disk group and a data disk. And we can see 2, 3, and 4 are 8 gig, and 5 and 6 are 16 gig. So we're going to add 2, 3, and 4 to the data disk group. So alter disk group data, add disk, tick, tick, comma, tick. Now interestingly, when you add disks, you use the path and you have to have it in ticks. And when you remove disks, you can use the name. You know what, let's do something different. Let's show that. So we're just going to add one disk. We're just going to add disk 2 to the mix. And then we're going to actually show a migration from 1 and 2 to 3 and 4. So rebalance power 1000. Okay, and we can monitor this by select star from the $asm operation. Oh, it's already done. How crazy is that? Well, it takes a lot less time to do these when there's no data on them, let's be frank. So now let me show you alter disk group. This is how you would migrate data, add disk, drop disk. Now by doing it this way, you could do it in two separate operations, but if you have data on these disks, it'll actually have to take more time, because first it reads half the data and then and spreads it out, and then it reads the other half and migrates it with the drop. So doing it this way, it only reads, if there is data, it reads all the data from one set and writes them to the other. So now we'll go ahead and paste that in and get that ready. See if we can actually catch it. Oh, now we actually can see it, but again, estimated minutes is 0. It's very quick. So we're already done. Because these disks are empty, now we'll go ahead and rerun our query. And we can see that 1 and 2 are former, and 3 and 4 are now members. So let's go ahead and just add the disks, 1 and 2 back in. And let's query the operation. And it's already done. So it's that simple, adding and removing these ASM disks once they're fully provisioned, partitioned, and configured. Now we're going to go ahead and log in as user Oracle, and we're going to create an ASM FRA disk group with the ASM creation assistant. That is, as soon as our desktop comes up. There we go. So here we are. All we have to do is set our environment for plus ASM, and which asmca. So we'll run that guy. And remember, running it with an ampersand means run it in the background, so you get your prompt back. And again, you can actually go through sqlplus, and you can create disk groups via sqlplus just as easily. Okay, so ASM instances, and we have one ASM instance. Okay, so disk groups. So all we have to do here is go in and say create. And we see our two new disk groups because we have the correct discovery path set. So we'll call this disk group with external redundancy FRA for flash recovery area. We'll show advanced options, ASM compatibility, database compatibility, sector size, logical sector size. So no big deal. Let's see those grinding gears. Oh, they changed it. Earlier versions there were actually 3 gears that used to grind. Okay, it's installed, it's mounted, and we're done. So pretty quick and easy for setting up that additional storage. Again, we can actually, I'm going to try and make this as wide as I can just because it shows so much information when I say asmcmd lsdg. There we go. So we can see we've got just about 32 gig free in both disk groups. Fabulous, loving it. A couple other handy commands: asmcmd lsdsk -t. This actually shows you the disks. -k shows you the sizes. Lots of information. So there you go. We went ahead and grew our ASM environment just a little bit. So on our next episode, episode 8, we'll go ahead and copy over those pesky Oracle database binaries and go ahead and install them and see how long it takes. If we can get it in under 20 minutes, we'll create a database. Otherwise, that'll be for episode 9. In the interim, thanks for tuning in. See you again next time. Same Oracle time, same Oracle channel. And drive safely. Remember to drink it off when you get home.